What's up, everyone? It's Crazy Dirt Biker here to give you a piece of your medicine for all of you YouTube fiends. It's been a while since I made a video. I just wanted to talk a little bit about some Nitro RC, some updates on my truck and what's been going on. So a few years ago, maybe like 2 years ago, I think I lost my GoPro. It was a really old GoPro. I think it was the Gen 4 when I was dirt biking. So I was resorting to making videos with my phone, and that was kind of difficult, and I wasn't uploading as much, but I just got a brand new GoPro Hero 7, so I do plan on making some more content. This truck right here, this is a T-Maxx 2.5 Classic that I've had for a really long time. I've put a lot of upgrades on it over the years. I put all RPM plastics on it, into G piggyback shocks, upgraded to the 3.3 engine, swapped out my fuel lines, and the trouble that I was having was as soon as I got this 3.3 on here, my truck was having a problem going into gear. So I did my research. I have an extra spare T-Maxx truck. It was the first one I've had when I was really young, before I really knew what I was doing. And I beat that truck up. And I just used that for parts. I had an extra transmission. Because it wasn't going in gear, I decided to just rip my transmission off. I went through this transmission, looked in all of the parts. All of the gears were good. I looked at all the pawls, made sure they opened up freely. What else did I do in there? I made sure none of the grub screws were broke, and everything was fine in the transmission. So then I had the spare transmission, and I opened that one up too, and it was the same thing. Everything was fine. All the grub screws were good. All the pawls moved freely. So I was thinking, you know what? I think it has something to do with the forward and reverse system. My forward and reverse servo was basically shot, so I had to put my truck into forward manually by pushing it in with my finger, and I think that had something to do with it. So what I decided to do was I bought the forward conversion kit, and all it was one part, one shaft, and one gear, and it basically takes out your entire forward and reverse system and you replace it with that. I did that. I changed my clutch shoes and my clutch belt, and I swapped out and changed my slipper clutch pegs in my spur gear. So after I did that, this thing runs like a beast. It has so much torque now compared to what it had before, because of the clutch systems or the pawl systems that are in there that use centrifugal force to engage. That's not in there anymore, so the tranny is like locked with the wheels, and you give it gas and this thing just wheelies. There's so much torque now. I know I'm gonna end up snapping some drive shafts, and I bought the MIP CVDs, but I couldn't get those to work, so that was a waste of $80. But it runs so good right now, guys. I'm so happy that I was able to do that. I've been in this hobby for a long time. And you know, nitro takes a long time to figure out. There's a lot of things that's involved in these, but that's actually part of the fun, is being able to work on them a little bit and figure out how they work. And now that I was able to tear the transmission apart, which was always the biggest deal for me, like anytime I had a problem that dealt with the transmission, I just didn't know what to do. But now that I was able to tear that apart, I feel like there's nothing that could stop me. Anything that breaks on this thing, I feel like I could fix it. I'm super pumped right now. I still have to tune this engine in, because like I said, when I upgraded to this 3.3, that's whenever the transmission started acting up. So I never even really got to break that engine in until last week. And I finally did that, and I tried tuning it up, and I was having a slight issue where it was cutting out at high speed, so I figured it was my high speed needle. And it was weird because it was still on factory carb settings. I couldn't figure out why it would be cutting out at high speeds. So I kept leaning it out until it got worse, and I was like, okay. So then I started richening it out, and it kept doing the same damn thing. Like after half throttle, if I just pin it, it'll just boop and just shut off. So I messed with the carb settings, the tuning a little bit when I was messing with it. So I just put them all back to factory. I think the thing that was really screwing me up was my throttle linkages. It was opening up my carb gap larger than my actual carb. And I had to mess with my linkages a little bit and get my carburetor so that whenever I'm at full throttle, it doesn't overextend. I think that's what the problem was. I'm no expert at this. I've been doing this hobby for a long time, but I'm definitely not a pro, and there's still so much I have to learn about it. So whenever I got this 3.3, I still had the easy start system, but because this engine came with the pull start, I took out the easy start system but left the wiring connected to the ground so that I could pull the pull start and still put the easy start in there to get the glow plug heated. And that became a problem, and I've been wanting to get a glow plug igniter, so I finally picked up a Dynamite. It's actually pretty nice. It works really good. I've never really used a glow plug igniter before until this, and it works fine. I have no problem with it. And it's actually so much less of a hassle and so much easier than the easy start. That's a good upgrade to do. So now that my truck runs, I got a glow plug igniter. I gotta get this thing tuned up right, and hopefully I'll get some videos out for you guys. So yeah, that's that. T-Maxx upgrade. This thing, so I have the forward and reverse servo out and that transmission, like I said. The next thing that I want to do, and I've been wanting to do this for a long time, is, let me show you real quick. This is the original steering servo, and it's just so old. Whoa, that could have been catastrophic. On the ground, it won't, I mean, it doesn't even move. There's no power, there's no torque in this. A lot of times when I'm turning, it won't, after I'm done turning, it won't even go back straight. So what I want to do is, obviously, get a high torque steering servo put in this thing. And with that, the only question I have is I still have the AA 4-pack in here, and I'm thinking, I've been wanting to upgrade to the hump pack, but once I get that high torque steering servo, I was wondering if that would make it even more of a reason to get that hump pack because of the more torque. Am I going to use my batteries more? Is it going to rob power from my other servos? I don't know. I never had a high torque servo before, but I think it would be a good idea for me to get the hump pack in there, the rechargeable batteries, once I get that steering servo. And yeah, I mean, that's it. I ain't putting any more money into this unless things break. As far as upgrades go, that's going to be it once I get that steering servo and that hump pack. So I'm excited. Summer's almost over, unfortunately. But what are you going to do? My mountain bike, which is usually up against that wall, is in the shop right now. I have some bottom bracket issues. Have to get that fixed. So it gave me some time to actually work on my truck a little bit. I haven't touched this truck in a long time. Like I said, I've been in this hobby for a really long time. When I was younger, I don't even know how old I was. I was way too young to have a Nitro RC, my very first T-Maxx. It's all parted out for parts right now. And so I use that truck as parts, and I've had that T-Maxx. I love the T-Maxx. I never really had any other Nitro RC. I got a handful of my buddies in the Nitro RC, and so yeah, I've been doing this for a while, and I enjoy the hobby, but it's strange how for as long as I've been doing it, I feel like there's been months, if not years, of past where I haven't touched it at all. And that's mainly due to just the problems that happen. These things do break. A lot of the internals, you got to know what you're doing to fix it. And it's really not that hard once you get to know your vehicle and you dig down in there and start wrenching on some shit. So another thing I noticed is one side of my tires are dry rotted. And the strange thing is like this is the newer T-Maxx. I know the lighting isn't the best, but this is the newer T-Maxx with the lower profile tires. And they're getting all dry rotted on the edges, whereas the old tires from my very first T-Maxx, which has gotta be over 10 to 15 years old, I would imagine. The original tires, the more beefier ones that came on the Classic back in the day, completely fine. They just sat in my basement forever. No dry rotting at all. I found that kind of odd. So anyway, that's a little update. I'm gonna get to tuning this thing and have me some fun. So I'll see you guys later. Crazy Dirt Biker over and out.